right, I'm not seeing any barrels rolling right this second, but they may be on break. But this is part of the track system that we're using to roll barrels. So if we're going to put a barrel after we fill it in a warehouse like or a warehouse on this side of the distillery, we're going to put it on this track. And this track, you can see, is kind of slanted towards that direction. So gravity is going to do most of the work for us. We'll put the barrel on the track, it'll roll to the location we need, and then we'll set it in that warehouse. And then if it's at the end of the barrel's lifetime and we're going to fill it, we'll take the barrels out of the warehouses, roll them on tracks like you're going to see over on the far side, and they'll roll to regauge to be dumped. Now we talked about the flood and water lines. So if you look at our spirits tanks right here, you can see the water line on the spirit tank about halfway up. That's where the water level was where we're standing right now. That was back in April. A lot of water. Yeah, that's where the water washed off the black off of the spirits tank. Yep.
And the black and all the black on the buildings is from
the ethanol in the air. Yeah. So that black that you see on the buildings, where it was washed off there, the ethanol that's in the air from the distillation process that will attach to the buildings and the trees, and it causes a fungus to grow. And that's what that black is a fungus. It's not harmful. It doesn't harm plants or animals or people or anything like that. But if you are a distillery or an ethanol plant, you're not going to be able to avoid that. That's just part of the process of having ethanol in it. Yeah. All right, so this is our cistern room. This is where those barrels from branding shed travel over, and we take 8 barrels at a time. We fill it with 53 gallons of distillate, and then we take a poplar bung like this, and we hammer this in by hand. Now we use poplar for 2 reasons. One, it's a softer wood, so when this gets wet, it swells and it seals up the barrel really well. It's also a neutral tasting wood, so even though this is going to touch the product as it rolls off to the warehouse to age, this isn't going to impart any flavor on it. Cistern room looks like today so far they fill a little over 1,600 barrels. We're probably shooting somewhere around 2,200 to 2,400 barrels today. Buffalo Trace actually has the largest inventory of aging barrels in the industry. Right now we're sitting on about 1.75 million barrels aging here on property. We're building some new warehouses in Laurel County right now. We ran out of room here. We're building 17 to 19 new warehouses there. When those are built and filled, we'll jump up to about 2.5 million barrels aging under the Buffalo Trace name. Every single one of those barrels was filled in this little cistern room, and this was built by Colonel Blanton after Prohibition. All right? So let's talk mash. Any questions about that? All right, let's talk mash bills real quick. Remember the mash bill's the recipe that we're using. We have 3 bourbon mash bills, 1 rye whiskey mash bill. I'm primarily going to talk about bourbons today. 3 recipes, three mash bills, and we're going to make 30 plus different tasting bourbons with just those 3 recipes. How do we do that? By not rotating our barrels. So when we fill a barrel in the cistern room, when we roll it off to a warehouse and put it in a warehouse today, wherever we put it is typically where that barrel is going to spend its entire aging lifetime. Not rotating your barrels allows you to develop very unique flavor profiles in a barrel depending on where you put it and how long you keep it there. Now, distilleries that rotate their barrels, nothing wrong with that. That's typically going to be a distillery that makes product X, and they want everything to taste like product X, because rotating your barrels gives you very consistent flavor profiles. All right, so let's take mash bill number 1. I'm not sure what they're filling today, but we'll go with mash bill number 1. Mash bill number 1 for us is a low rye bourbon recipe. We know it's got to be at least 51% corn, right? That's the law. Rye is going to be your secondary grain or your flavor grain. It's a low percentage, and we throw in a grain called malted barley. We use that for the enzymes that it produces. Going into the barrel, mash bill 1 is mash bill 1. What are these? This is mash bill 1. This is a mash bill 1 barrel. They are all the same, right? The recipe's the same, the yeast strain's the same, the level of char is all the same in the barrel, so there's nothing different about mash bill 1. But when this barrel grows up, It could be Benchmark, Old Charter, Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, E.H. Taylor, Stag, George T. Stag, Eagle 12, Eagle 17. All the variations of those products that I just mentioned. They all start out life exactly the same. No difference in them. It's when they age up is what determines what it's going to be. Mash bill 2 for us. Mash bill 2 is a medium rye, right? So we're just going to up the percentage of rye a little bit, lower the percentage of corn, and those mash 2 barrels are going to grow up to be either Ancient Age or Blanton's, Elmer T. Lee, Rock Hill Farms, or Hancock Reserve. Those are all mash bill 2 products. Mash bill 3. Mash bill 3 is our wheated mash bill. So now instead of using rye as our flavor grain, we're going to use red wheat. And those mash bill 3 barrels will grow up to either be a Weller product or a Pappy Van Winkle product. Those are the 2 lines of wheated bourbon that we make here. So really there's 5 things that determine what this barrel is going to grow up to be. A lot of them we've already talked about. One is the recipe, what grains we're using, the percentage of those grains, that yeast strain. All right, that's the first thing. Second thing is the barrel. Remember, 70-75% of your flavor is going to come from that barrel. Third thing is the warehouse, what the warehouse is made out of, what area in the warehouse we put it on, and how long we keep it in the warehouse. That's a huge factor, right? The last 2 things, people don't really think about these so much. The next thing is how much water do we add to that product? So if you take our Weller lines, great example. Weller Special Reserve, Green Label Weller, 90 proof. Weller Antique 107, Red Label Weller, 107 proof. Weller Full Proof, Blue Label Weller, 114 proof. Those are all the exact same product. They have a different amount of water added to them. Changes the flavor profile. Last thing is how many barrels go into that product. So you have single barrel bourbons, right, like Blanton's, Elmer T. Lee. You got small batch bourbons, which for us is typically a few hundred barrels, and you get things like Buffalo Trace, Weller Special Reserve, E.H. Taylor small batch. And then we also have large volume bourbons like Ancient Age and Benchmark, where maybe it's 1,000 or more barrels growing into that product. So those 5 factors. Question, that was a lot of information I just threw at you. Questions about that or questions about our cistern room?
Are the recipes specific to your guys' company, or is that across the board?
Yeah, they're proprietary to us, and I don't even know what they are. Sazerac doesn't release them, so they don't even tell me. They know I would blab it, but so I don't even know the exact percentages of our
So
3
nobody
restaurants.
else is doing it like y'all?
Not that I know of. Now, there could be some coincidences out there of the percentages, but as far as what percentages we're using of corn, rye, or wheat and malted barley, we don't release it. Yeah.
How's it determine what barrel goes to which facility to age?
What they plan for that barrel to be. So we know what warehouses will age for specific flavor profiles. So say we're filling a whole bunch of mash 1 today and they want that mash 1 to grow up to be Buffalo Trace in 7 to 9 years, they're going to put it in a particular warehouse and in a particular location for that flavor profile to develop. So it really depends on what the plan for those barrels are at the end of their lifetime. Right now we're really just filling warehouses because we're building the new warehouses in Laurel County. So we're really working on just getting those filled. But a lot of it has to do with where that product is going to be in the future. Say it again now. No, so, and that's a great, actually, I'm going to show you where our new warehouses are, and I'll explain how that's going to be the same products that we're using right now. We don't do these with mash, unless it's an experiment. Carla might use some stuff with experimentals. But all of our products use the sour mash process. Yeah.
What's the exact product mention you got of
The weeded line?
Yeah.
Weller and Pappy Van
That's it?
Winkle.
Okay.
Yep, those are the only 2. Yep. All right, so with double production, that means we need a lot more warehouse space. We're going to be aging a lot more barrels. The warehouses that you see down here on this 130-ish acres, these are all the ones that Colonel Blanton built after Prohibition. So we used up all the area that we had down here. We didn't really have any area to build new warehouses, so we ended up buying a farm. The farm is on this hillside up here. You can't really see the warehouses right now because of all the trees, but you come back in about a month when all these leaves have dropped, and you'll see the big red metal warehouses that sit up on top of that hill. There's 19 of those warehouses up on this farm. Each one of those warehouses holds almost 60,000 barrels. They're each one over the size of an NFL regulation football field. Those are all built and filled. And I told you we're building 17 to 19 more of those warehouses in Laurel County. But you know, by me talking about not rotating our barrels, where you put a barrel, what warehouse you put it in, will determine what flavor profile develops in it. When you start building warehouses at new locations, up on a hillside where it's got a lot more wind than down here in the valley, or 100 miles from here where it's going to be completely different, you're going to develop different flavor profiles. So we didn't want to do that. We don't want a bunch of new products. We want the same products that we already have. So these new warehouses that we have, which were $7 million a piece to build, have an environmental control system in them. So we'll actually take data from, say, warehouse I here. We'll take real-time data on temperature, humidity, wind velocity, lumens, all the factors environmentally that we know affect the aging process, and we'll duplicate that in these new warehouses. So that's how we're making a lot more of the products that we already know until we start pulling a lot of products if that experiment worked. So far, the barrels have been aging consistently with what the barrels are doing down here, so they've been very pleased with the experiment. So hopefully that's what's going to be the end outcome, is a lot more things like Buffalo Trace, Blanton's, Weller Special Reserve, those types of products for you guys. But that's how we're aging products in different locations, but aging them similarly to what we're doing here on property. Yes, ma'am.
What product has the shortest aging length?
For us, it would be Benchmark. Benchmark and H&H. They're going to be around that 3 to 5 year mark. We don't have anything that's less than 3 years, I don't believe.
How long have you been?
Yeah. But if you look at these over here, this is a Pappy Van Winkle 23. This is a Weller 18. This is going to be a new product that's going to be released. This is an E.H. Taylor, Eagle 17, Clicks Vodka. Some of the products that we're bottling by hand. That's why they're being dumped over here into the piping system. No, so only like things that are going to go to craft bottling to be bottled by hand. Most stuff is not going to go into these IBC tanks. All right, everybody in? All right, so the building that we're in now, regauge. This is where the barrels come to be dumped at the end of their aging lifetime. If typically they are a small batch or a large volume bourbon. So we're not going to do single barrel bourbons in here because we're not going to dump one barrel at a time and have to clean all this equipment. The barrels are going to come in on the track. We're going to hop up here. We're going to remove the bung. We're going to roll the barrel over, dump the contents into this trough. Now this trough is our first level of filtration. In the bottom of this trough, there's 2 layers of stainless steel mesh filter. Because this is what is floating around inside the barrel after the aging process is done. This is all that char off the inside of the barrel that's flaked off during aging. You don't want this floating around in your bottle of bourbon, so we're going to filter this out. Now, that is nothing more than oak and bourbon, right? We don't waste anything here at Buffalo Trace. We are good stewards of our environment. If we can reuse one of a byproduct of our process, we're going to. So we actually bag that up and sell it in the gift shop. You can use that on your smoker, right? It's going to make a really nice brisket. Now, it smells really good too. So this is what Lynn does. Lynn takes it home and she puts it in a little dish and she sets it on her bar and she calls it potpourri because it makes my bar smell really, really good. But technically it's for your smokers. Not grills. Don't expose that to open flame. That will not end well for you, all right? Indirect heat only with that. All right, we're going to dump the product in here. We're going to take the barrel down to the end. We're going to add about a gallon of water to that barrel. We're going to seal that barrel up with a temporary bung and we're going to slow roll that barrel. There's a lot of product still in the wood of that barrel. We're going to use that water to try to grab as much flavor out of that barrel as we can. And then that's part of the water we're going to use for the proofing process, right? We're going to proof that product down. We're going to filter it one more time. We're going to filter it on the far side in that round tub that you see over there. There's a finer filter in there. It's going to take out any small particulates. Then we're going to send the product back over to the cistern room to be proofed down. And then it's going to need to go to our lab and to our tasting panel. The lab's going to check it for things like color, clarity, certain chemical compounds the lab can detect, and the tasting panel is going to taste it for flavor profile and defects. After that, that product is going to go off to the chill filter facility if it's a chill filtered product, and then onto bottling and then out to you guys. So that's just a real brief overview of how the product gets from the inside the barrel at the end of aging out to the liquor store to you guys. Questions about that? Anybody? All right, we're going to head back out this way.
Well, I do have one. So how long from when they dump it in here until it's in the store?
Hold on. Well, so I can tell you probably, so from here to get it bottomed, is probably about 10 days to 2 weeks, something like that. As far as getting to the liquor store, that's the distribution side of it, and I don't even claim to understand the distribution side of it. But to get it bottled is not very long. But after that, it has to go to distribution, it has to be taxed, then it has to go out to our distributors, Kentucky Winkle, those types of companies, and then they get it out to the liquor stores and the restaurants and stuff. So that part of it, I don't have a clue about that side of it. But as far as us dumping it and getting it bottled, it doesn't take very long.
This has to be bought for years.
This it already did. This has already been, yeah, this is already done. This is at 143.2 proof. This hasn't been proofed down yet. So things like our Pappy Van Winkle line, you're going to see when we get to Blanton's bottling, single barrel bourbons and specialty lines like Van Winkle and the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. We do those by hand. We bottle those in craft bottling by hand versus our automated bottling facility. So in order to transport it to craft bottling, they put it in these IBC tanks. At craft bottling, that's where it'll be filtered, proofed down, and then bottled. Yeah, so they're sitting in this so we can go over to there more easily. Anything that stays in the piping system, going back over to Cistern and all that, that's what's going to go to Legends Bottling and be bottled in our automated bottling facility. Yes, ma'am.
How many testers do you have? Do you have any panel?
On our tasting panel, there's 24 of us.
24.
Yeah, and we taste every single Buffalo Trace product that's released. I'm sorry?
Will you join us?
Absolutely. You guys come with me to